This video does not endorse, promote, or glorify any form of illegal or harmful activity.
Hey guys, young Psychonaut here, back at it again with another video, and today we're going to do something very fun. We're basically going to rate all these substances based on how fast it takes to kick in, or how fast the come up phase is, or whatever you want to call it. And obviously this will be very personal. Some people have very different metabolism from me, so these are all the substances that I have tried. As you can see, there's something different today. Different routes of administration basically take different times. So the substances that have different routes of administrations for me, I've labeled them. So I is insufflated, O is oral, and S is smoked. So as you can see, for example, for the weed, or THC in this case, I have oral THC and have smoked THC. So, and for all these other substances, they only have one route of administration for me. Obviously, you can smoke anything, but I mean, what I have personally tried and found to be effective. So yeah, you can also see like which substances I've, for example, only taken oral or only smoked or whatever. So let's get into it, I would say. Oh yeah, and the categories are like from instantly to like more than 1.5 hours. I don't even think we're gonna use this category, but I just put it there just for completeness sake. Okay, I would say we'll start with 4-HOMET because that has the most different types of ways you can consume it. So as you may have noticed, or as you may know, I have recently smoked 4-HOMET for the first time, and I've made a video about it, so you can check it out. But yeah, so let's say smoked 4-HOMET is definitely basically instantly. I mean, even with, for example, smoked cannabis, it will take a minute to a few minutes before you really start feeling it. But with the smoked 4-HOMET, it is basically as soon as you hit the pipe, you're already feeling it. It's really, really interesting how that works. Like even with tobacco, with nicotine, you have to take a good few draws before it really starts working on you. It's not like the first puff of a cigarette, you're instantly down. So I would say for those also a few minutes. It's also very interesting because oral 4-HOMET has a pretty short onset time. It's only 10 to 20 minutes, where it's even if you just drink 4-HOMET, I would say in about 20 minutes you'll start having some really interesting visuals already. It's actually really interesting as a psychedelic because most other psychedelics will take some time to kick in, but oral 4-HOMET is really, really fast. And insufflated 4-HOMET is even faster, I would say. Maybe not only a minute, but I would say about 10 minutes, maybe a little bit less, like 5 to 10 minutes, where you're already starting to feel the effects. But it will also be shorter, so keep that in mind. I would say oral 4-HOMET, it comes up so fast that for me it doesn't really make sense to snort 4-HOMET, to insufflate it. But yeah, because I mean 10 to 20 minutes is already crazily fast. Okay, I would say weed oral, it can take a long time to kick in. But for me personally, I've never had it take longer than 1.5 hours. So I would say around an hour, maybe for the full effects, 1 hour and 15 minutes. But generally, sometimes I take a gummy edible and I'll already feel it in 40, 50 minutes. So I would say it's way slower, but it's not like some people report where it takes 2 hours to kick in. I have never had that personally. Okay, I would say 2CB is also actually pretty quick for psychedelic when it comes to onset. So I would say insufflated 2CB, oral 2CB is about 20 to 40 minutes. For me personally, where I get some real effects, it's a little bit slower than 4-HOMET oral. And insufflated, I would say, is a little bit quicker, where within 20 minutes you'll start to see some changes. But again, it lasts way shorter than oral. Acid actually has a pretty long come up for me. Not too crazy, but I would say definitely 40 minutes to 1.5 hour. More like 1.5 hour, I would say, to reach real effects. Okay, 2FDCK. We have an insufflated 2FDCK is pretty quickly. Again, same kind of as 4-HOMET. It will probably hit you like in a few minutes. And with the oral 2F, I would say about 10 to 20 minutes. Again, when I drink it, after 20 minutes, it's already pretty strongly going. So again, with this, it's also pretty fast, I would say. And we can put ketamine here in here as well. I would say a few minutes when you insufflate ketamine. It's not instant. It's not like 4-HOMET smoked where you actually like are still hitting it and it's like already like almost full effect. I would say ketamine for me, you hit it and it starts to work, and after a few minutes it's like really like going on. Okay, 3-MMC I also insufflated and did oral. Very honest when I say like I don't have a very good memory of it, but I would say insufflated it's probably like a few minutes, and oral it's probably like somewhere around here. Maybe it's a little bit faster for you guys, but I think I remember it being more like 20 to 40 minutes for it to really like start working. But again, it was like 5 years ago that I tried it, so yeah, don't take my word for this one for the 3-MMC. DCK I also don't really like that much, so I haven't done it too much, so maybe my reference is not too great, but I would say it's kind of in the same way as 2 of DCK where insufflation takes a few minutes. I would say oral is also probably pretty quickly, so about 10 to 20 minutes. Okay, alcohol takes about, well, actually it's so long ago that I drank alcohol. It was like 6 years ago, but I think it actually goes pretty fast, especially if you drink stronger stuff. I would say a few minutes. I don't think you have to wait 20 minutes for drank to kick in. Maybe some of you guys, but I think for me it's actually pretty quickly. Okay, 2CC I've only tried orally, so I will put it here with the 2CB. That seems fair. I would say it has about the same come up time. Shrooms are actually very interesting for me. I would say shrooms for me do last about like 40 minutes to 1.5 hours before kicking in. I think these classic psychedelics do have a little bit of a slower onset than, for example, these newer psychedelics. But maybe that's also just my personal metabolism. Okay, DXM actually also about 20 to 40 minutes. It's not that long. It's not like 1.5 hours. I would say after 40 minutes, I'm already pretty much like at like real effect though, a real effect. So that one is also actually pretty quick. Okay, dextroamphetamine insufflated is a few minutes. Orally also about like 20 to 40 minutes probably. Maybe a little longer. It's also pretty long time ago that I tried this. So yeah, this one I also don't really know. Maybe for you guys it's a little bit longer or shorter, but I think it will be okay here. MDMA, again, insufflated, it's pretty quickly. It's not a few minutes. So I feel like with MDMA it kind of has to, even in your, maybe it is a few minutes. I'm really like on the fence about this one. I feel like it would be kind of the same as 3-MMC, but I could also be wrong. I feel like it's a little bit longer than that. But maybe this could also be in this category. About 10 minutes for the MDMA to really kick in. And orally, I would say for me, it can actually take really long. Like I've had sessions of MDMA where it took like, even when I drank like dissolved pure MDMA Molly, so there was nothing when it comes to like clearing the stomach or whatever, it still took like a big hour for it to kick in. But I'm not gonna put it in more than 1.5 hours because I've also had sessions where it was like after an hour it started kicking in. But more on the high side of this category, more like an hour plus. Okay, I would say fentanyl. I have only gotten it intravenously at the hospital, so I've never tried fentanyl myself. I've never smoked it myself. But if you get it intravenously at the hospital, it is basically instant. As soon as they start opening the tap for you, with like for me it was fentanyl and propofol, I mean I was basically instantly gone. So I would say intravenous fentanyl is basically instant. Not a few minutes, more like 10 seconds. Alprazolam, only tried this orally. I don't think you can smoke benzos. Please don't try that. Like I feel like that would be very, very bad. It's actually very interesting that I've never tried it, which actually speaks to the fact for probably how bad it is. But for an alprazolam, I would say about 20 to 40 minutes. I would say all the benzos are about here. It's not too long, but it's also not like 10 to 20 minutes. You really do have to wait for, but not an hour. So I would say 20 to 40 minutes is pretty good when it comes to the benzodiazepines. Benadryl, I would say, yeah, it will take about like an hour to kick in. I've never done any large amounts of Benadryl, but when it comes to like the antihistamine effects, after one and a half, like after an hour or 1.5, I think it has reached its full potential. Caffeine is actually really interesting because I feel my body absorbs caffeine extremely quickly. I would say about 10 to 20 minutes, maybe less. But no, I would say it takes about 10 to 20 minutes for the caffeine to really get into your body. Codeine, that's actually interesting. It's so long ago that I tried codeine. It's hard to remember either in this category or in this category. For me, it did take about 40 minutes or more to kick in. Like it did, like the body really needs to process it in the liver to the body really needs to process it in the liver to morphine. So I would say it's probably like a little longer than just 20 to 40 minutes. Nitrous oxide, that one is also basically instantly. I've only huffed it from a balloon, obviously. So yeah, that one is also basically in like 5 to 10 seconds. You're like fully there. ODSMT and tramadol is actually very interesting. It comes up pretty fast. I would say 20 to 40 minutes. Tramadol maybe a little bit longer. I feel like the tramadol takes about 40 to 40 minutes to an hour. But the ODSMT, especially if you like the powder and you dissolve it in some water or some other drink, it will hit you pretty fast. I would say within 30 minutes, something like that. Poppers also basically instant. Yeah, I mean you inhale it and I basically instantly feel really bad from it. So not for me, but also very very quickly. And Ritalin, and again I've never snorted Ritalin, so this is only oral, and I would say about 40 minutes definitely for it to kick in. Maybe you guys that actually have Ritalin prescription think it's a little bit faster. Could be, but from in my recollection it was about 40 minutes. But yeah, okay, so this was the list. As you can see, it is actually pretty balanced. So we have a lot of different substances that have different duration, like come up durations. It's also very simple to see that the smoked is very quickly, insufflated comes next, and then the oral ones are often the ones that take a little bit longer, which makes sense, of course, because your body has to digest it or at least absorb it into the liver and process it, etc. But it is also very interesting to see that in the 10 to 20 minutes, there's a lot of oral still, where like oral 2-FDCK, oral DCK, oral 4-HMET, they have really quick onset times. Totally not what you would have expected from like classic oral substances like cannabis or MDMA or LSD or shrooms. Like all these things, they seem to have like a long way through your body before it gets into your brain. And I don't know if 4-HMET just bypasses it or it absorbs quicker into the bloodstream in a different way, or I don't even know, but it's very interesting to see how these newer chemicals seem to be a little bit quicker when it comes to the onset. Anyways, guys, thank you guys for watching. It was a fun video to make. I hope you guys learned something, and I'll see you in the next one.